Alrighty, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is NutRaisin. Let's do some PLO studying. As promised, I didn't quite manage to... that's the wrong button. Didn't quite manage to be here on time. Apologies for that. Was rather busy. I got up in like 2 hours ago and started being busy right away. Anywho, people tell me I apologize too much, so apologies for that. Anywho, I didn't find a post-flop spot that really grabbed me by the cojones today, so I figured we go back to a situation we had earlier, a multi-base situation where we're in the small blind. In this case, we have an... should probably put this into study spot. We have an under the gun opener and a big blind caller. And we are in the small blind. Nice. Hang on, I'll talk more in a second. Calls. There we go. Got that sorted, right? Right, and I selected hands, or will select hands, that are not as clear cut here. Because we looked into this spot earlier in the past. Hang on, there you go. But last time we looked at, the hands on as a whole. And this time let's go for hands that have like very modest expectations. So non-aces, non-aces, kings, something like that is automatically, or for the most part, automatically filtered out here. Oh, thank you very much, Ruklas. Yeah. Damn hotkey for the muting. I really need to take care of that. PVC. No, PVV. That's interesting. If that turns out to be the case, then I'll put it back to 0.5. So, okay, if I put in call, that works too. Just wanted to check that out because I put you as fold PCV. Okay, so I would go with call here. And that's a raise. Okay, so that is a squeeze. Oh yeah, it's a, yeah. Okay. Interesting. And we could also set up a second spot with this one where we figure out what we do if we get re-raised. If we fold this or... Hang on, sorry. To move this out of the way real quickly. Set up a second bucket tool. What's the action? It's a big blind open. Yeah, sorry, under the gun open. It's on the screen! Oh, of course, you should know by now. It's under the gun open, button calls, and we're in the small blind. So let me set this up for what happens if we get called. Or raised, rather. Load from database. Might as well show you how to set it up. So the initial situation is early position raises, then we see a fold, button calls, we raise, and now big blind folds. It's fair enough. And the early position raises again, the button folds. And what do we do? All right. So I'll put it in there. Ace, king, queen, queen. Single suited. And that's a fold. 2-degree raise. All right. Got that figured out. And yeah, it looks... let me just click through a few hands really quickly. Yeah, you're right with 0.5. Hang on, let me just show you so you know what I'm doing. So I set this one here to 0. Higher than 0.5, and that means that we don't have any folds in here. And that's perfectly correct. Thank you for that, pointing that out. So let's refresh the hands. And do this again. Okay, so an easy one. Don't need a poll for this one. We just raise pot here 100% of the time. This one should be pretty straightforward. Shouldn't be any surprises here. Well, maybe. I don't know. But the dangler triple suited. Take this out of the way so we can see the spot better. There you go. Should be just a fold, right? Yeah. Should also be a fold. I'll click through the ones that are really obvious. Maybe we need some buckets in here. This one could be interesting. Do we call a fold? I'd say raising is out of the question. So I'd go with call, probably. And that's still a fold. Okay. Let's see what ace 8-8s are being called. PVC right up there with the fold. So ace 8-8. Okay, so the ones with the aces we re-raised, that really doesn't play a role for us. There's still some all-ins, and those are interesting. Oh, hang on. No. That's the... Sorry, that's the wrong window. That's the one against the re-raise if we decide to part. I hate that the other window always disappears behind. So that would be the wrong one. The right one. Aces 8 minus aces. So with the ace king, apparently it's a re-raise. Is that right? Oh, I'm getting confused. See what the matrix tells us. So we're calling with ace 9, 8, 8, better connectivity. Okay. Higher card. Like with this one, we do have a gap in here between the 8 and the 6. Let's see about the ace 8, 8, 7 maybe, where we don't have the gap in there. And some of them raised the double suited ones. Okay, so that's low frequency here. That makes sense. So if we go by high frequencies, then that's a lot of calling with perfectly single suited ones. Mostly calling, yeah. So I would ignore these 8%, these 8%ers here. Don't think we need to be adding that into our balancing approach. So the perfectly single suited ones call, and they also sometimes fold. As you can see, the ones we fold at a high frequency, maybe sorted by probability here, would be the ones that are not suited to the ace, right? So no shocker. So better connectivity makes all the difference. That is certainly interesting. All right, cool. That was rather neat, I thought. Pull, go to the next hand. Yeah, that's one where I just say it's going to be a fold. King Queen 8-4, probably going to be a fold as well. Ace Jack 10-10. Are we squeezing this again? I mean, we're not folding it, right? Ace 9 and 8, probably a squeeze. You're talking double suited there, PVC? Because single suited, I say I doubt it. Oh, ace 9 and ace 9 and 8. Let's see. The double suited ones. The double suited ones actually do get squeezed, so that's nice to point out. And it is profitable because there's already a lot of money in the pot by this point. So it's actually decently profitable if it shows minus 0.3 BB. I don't know how much money is in the pot already. We have a pot, we have a call. So that's what, 7 big blinds already? Because it looks insanely strong. We do get a lot of folds. And this one we're not folding to a re-raise, I would say, right? Let me check that out. It's 9 and 8. Or do we fold the double suited one to a re-raise? Sometimes calling 16 per. I can show you. Like if the small blind raises again and the big if the under the gun player raises again and the big blind folds, it's a mixed strategy as well. Sometimes folding, sometimes calling, mostly going all in. I guess, you know, if the super nit raises you, re-squeezes you, then you could pitch it. So what about this one then? The ace jack 10-10. So if the other one was a squeeze, I'd say this is a squeeze as well. Curious to see if that is true, and also if Douglas saying call. Let's see the call as well. Very much a mixed strategy in favor of calling here. I would assume if this is ace jack, jack 10-10 double suited, it's not going to be as mixed. Yeah. So solver definitely favors just calling instead of raising. And let's see if we do raise this one. What we do if we get re-raised. Then we fold it. 100%. So if we do go for the raise pot option here. And it's interesting to know that the call is a good deal more profitable than the raise, you know, in GTO land. All right. 10-9-7-4 should be a fold. It would be interesting, like a 10-9-8-7 single suited would probably be a call. Let's see. See where the cutoff is there. 10-9-8-7 single suited. I'd say it's 100%. No. I guess because the button has a lot of the shows up with these hands, and even has a dominator a good deal of the time with like a jack 10-9-8, jack 10-7-8, double suited stuff like that. Well, maybe not double suited. They'd probably raise that. Oh. So even the ones that call it a very low frequency. Okay, then we don't need to check out ones with gaps or anything. If the very connected ones don't make it gonna be a fold. Might be interesting. Yeah, it's something I sometimes wonder. Or at least about similar hands. Maybe don't raise, I would think, but do we call or do we fold? Kina, say, thank you very much for the follow. Cheers. So ace 10 for loose, I would fold it. I need to lean forward to read the name. Jiglodokus. How much is the bucket tool? Where can I get the bucket tool? How much does it cost? The bucket tool is part of the mastermind, of the JNantos mastermind, which is 100 euros a month. And it's predominantly a coaching site with, I don't know how many hundreds of videos at this point. Absolutely recommend the mastermind. Not an affiliate for it. But I do enjoy free access, so you should know that. That you could call me biased. And right now it's included in the 100 euros. I heard. So right now the tool is in beta and open, and it's available for all the mastermind members. I did hear that it will apparently be charged extra once it's fully released, but I don't know how much. I don't know when. That's all I know. And I'm not 100% certain that that's the case, that it's going to be an extra charge later on. In the house. Hey there, JNantos. Thank you for dropping in yet again. Okay, there you got the information right. Straight out of the horse's mouth, as the saying goes. Which has no negative connotations, in case you don't know that saying. Hey, thanks for the follows. Ill-sighted and Yule Duffer. Cheers. And it also does post-flop stuff. We're still waiting for full connectivity to the Mastermind cloud, and then we'll get access using the bucket tool to all the simulations the Mastermind has ever done. I already did some post-flop streams. I was going to do one today, but I didn't get around to set up a post-flop stuff spot. So we'll do pre. So I'd say this is a fold, right? Right. Ace 10-8-4. Don't think we need a poll for this one. Should be a fold, although maybe my nit shows. No. Fold as well. Well, I'm sure JNantos will give you a more qualified answer, but right now it's nothing additional. Right now it's the 99 dollars, not euros. That's 10% less than $99 a month, and you get the bucket tool currently included. Do we want to use some, speaking of the bucket tool, do we maybe want to use some bucket series if we don't have that many hands that are just folds? Like this one is probably still a fold. Even that is going to be a fold. Yeah, I think we need to use some buckets. Let's make the tool live up to its name. Any suggestions? So aces we take away. Broadway pairs. Gonna be interesting. Double suited rainbow ones. Mid-low pairs. Single suited rainbow pair. Yeah, if it's two pair, might be interesting as well. Luke Botter in the house as well. Wow. Double suited rundowns. That's gonna be interesting. Single suited rainbow rundowns. Well, we checked out at 10-9-8-7, so we probably don't need to include those. Double suited 3 Broadways. It's gonna be cool. Luke Botter, we are looking at. Oh yeah, you can't see because I have this right in front here. We're looking at a under the gun open. The button calls, and we're in the small blind. And we decide if we want to like fold, call, or raise. Double suited 2 Broadway, low connectors is good. Single suited single suited 2 Broadways, if they don't contain an ace, well, maybe. Are these the wrong buckets for pre-flop? No, I think they are fine. I believe they're fine. Do correct me. Jens Peter Nielsen, welcome, by the way. Double suited double pair. Oh, so yeah, we don't need that one with the mid-low pairs. I thought it was 2 pair. But the double suited ones we'll take. Rainbow double pairs. Down to Jade 1 and onwards. Really? Okay. Go with that then, thank you. So, connected Broadway hands. Connected ace high, non-Broadway, double suited, yes. Double suited disconnected ace high, yes. Ragged ace high, yeah, maybe as a double suited rundowns, yep. Double suited connected near Broadway. PLO with Broadway kicker. Could be interesting, like a king 6-5-4 maybe. Just to have it in there. All right. I appreciate that, Luke, and Jens Peter Nielsen. Cheers. Disconnect non-Broadway. Yep, double suited connected 1 Broadway. And non-Broadway, sorry. If they're double suited, those are all pretty strong hands. Let's maybe look into the double suited ones right now and go with these buckets. And then later on go for single suited maybe? What's the time? Yeah, sounds good. So we add these buckets to the filter. Of course, probably take away this. Okay. Automatically deleted the other filter. Perfect. Then training. There we have it. By the way, in case you're wondering, sometimes there's a dotted out card here in these lists. That's the queens. That's only on my end. It has to do with my Windows scaling settings. I could fix it, but then I would have to change my Windows scaling. Right now, it's only the queen that gets dotted out. Just want to point out that that's an issue on my end, not on the end of the bucket tool. Okay. I think these are the double suited hands we selected are probably really interesting too, because yeah, those do present me with a challenge sometimes in the small blind. So the 9-7-6-5, perfectly double suited rundown with a gap and a gap at the top. So do we squeeze? Border going with the potted baby option. Just saying fold, interesting. What would I do? It's a good question. So it doesn't play that great 3 ways, right? So I'd say either fold or Boris in the house. Hey, nice to see you. I would say it's either a raise or a fold. Alex Slansky in the house as well. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a raise as well. And that is fine. And I have another window open. Let's see what we do against a re-raise. I would assume we get it in. We don't fold at this point. Yeah, no, we don't get it in. We call. We call. So if I have another window open where I went further into the spot, assuming now it gets back to the under the gun player who raises, the button folds and is back to us, and then this hand would be a call 100% of the time. All right. We do the poll. Queen Jack 10-8. You know what? We're gonna have a lot of. Maybe we wanna limit the max EV here to something a little bit weaker, because this is gonna be a raised pot pretty obviously, and I think we're gonna have a lot of obvious spots otherwise with the double suited hands, or at least most of them. Yeah, it's gonna be a raised pot, and if we get raised here, let me check it out. Queen Jack 10-8. In case you're wondering how I did that, I opened up a second instance of the bucket tool, and let me just show you how I got to this point where I can check these hands here. Go to load from database, select the stacks. I select PLO 500, which I don't play, but I have good rakeback deals on all the sites I play, so I don't play at PLO 50 zoom rake. So early position raises is our spot, kind of folds, the button calls, then it's up to us, and we assume we raise with this hand. This big blind folds, so now the big blind, the early position raises again, the button folds, and it's up to us. At this point, we clicked our way through the situation we want, click download, and the tool is going to do the rest for us, going to put everything in here, and then we can, see all the hands right now unfiltered, seeing 51% of the hands we've taken this far. We repot, and then it's roughly half, 1/4 that we call, that we fold, and then you can apply a filter here, and that way you get, like an in-depth answer. What do I do if the small blind, under the gun, raises again? All right, just wanted to show that. Oh, MFG, always nice to see you. So let me click 1 or 2 more hands. Okay, that one is interesting right off the bat. Because we got 2 gaps in here, right? Wait, I need to put up the poll again. Sorry, I sometimes forget to click buttons. But who can blame me? They're not labeled pot, so easy to forget to click them. See a fold. Yeah, might this be a spot to call? I'm torn, man. I am torn myself. The 2 gaps kind of blow. Then again, I guess the small, the big blind. So the under the gun opened, big blind, everybody folded, the big blind called. So if the big blind calls, he probably doesn't have a similar hand. Because he would raise those, right? I'm trying to think. I think at runtime I would pot it as well. I'm not sure how well that's gonna work out. And it is more of a fold than a pot, so it's still fine to pot it. But very much mixed strategy. Mostly in favor of folding. So let me put that one into the second window. What do we do if we get re-raised? I think in that case, we're probably not folding once we open it. Yeah, once we open, we're not folding, we call. The 2 gaps, yeah. Yeah. Why does pot have better EV? Well, because we're already down half a big blind, we're in the small blind. I think that's the answer. Ace 10, 8, 3. Interesting enough. Right, fold. I would say no. Oh, I didn't understand that. That's the first time ever. No, that wouldn't be the first time. Interesting to see where the cutoff for call lies here, and we'll check that out in a moment. Not as better be, but it's still for, yeah. So that's 100% a fold. So far, so good. But now let's go here. Let's go with the ace 10, 8, 5 maybe. Double suited. Yeah, it's still a fold. Interesting. How about the 8-6? Ace 10, 8-6. I mean, something like ace 10 and 9-8 is going to be a raise, but ace 10, 8-6, that's where it changes. So the 8-5 was too gapped for the solver. And now we have, you sorted already about probability. So there's basically no calling. Like the 10% is here, personally. There's so much to learn in PLO, so much to remember. Tend to ignore those. And yeah, we raise all the, we fold all the ones that are, oh no, hang on. Yeah, we fold all the ones that are not perfectly double suited. And raise all the others. And then there's some, you know, solver voodoo going on with 9%ers, 1%ers, whatever. All right. Next up, King Jack 10-9. Yeah, okay, that's should be obvious. And maybe we do want to, what do you guys say? I'm going to bring this back up here. Maybe we do want to limit the EV number down a little bit, because these hands are always going to be obvious, right? What do you guys say? It's just going to be a pot 100% of the time. And if we get raised here, we're never going anywhere. Just want to check if it's if we just get it in right away or if we just call. 100% call. Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Call with 4-bit Arugula's right on the money there. King Jack 10, so we have a pretty sizable gap, but still a pretty looking hand. And let me guys know if you think I should limit the EV, potential EV of the hands down a little bit so we don't get the very strongest of these ranges in here, making the quiz maybe a little bit harder. So how about this one? Yes. For what I've seen in my studies, a Jack 10 combo double suited, like put the queen in there as well. This is never a fold. This is always a raise. And we're going to call against the 4-bet as well. The Boros would call. That's interesting. Interesting. First, I'm going to go with the raise. Huh. My answer in short is, huh. Things that make you go, So basically never a raise. It is predominantly a fold. I guess there's a decent chance we share a lot of the same cards with the, well, certainly with the under the gun player. And often enough with the button caller as well. That is interesting. And I'm sure if you make this 1 pip better, if we go with the Queen Jack 10-8, and that picture changes, right? Queen Jack 10-8. It is, sorry, you probably can see it on the screen right now since that window is here. It is the under the gun opens, the button calls, and we're in the small blind. So we're in a multi-way scenario. Yeah, and now that changes the picture entirely if we get the 8 here. So the 8 here. So even with the Queen Jack 10 combo, the gap is a problem. So I would assume the queen, the solver doesn't like the queen and the gap. So if you maybe go with the Jack 10-9 and then a 2-gapper, so a 6 now, I would assume this is always a raise. No. So it's the 2 gaps. If you go with 10-9-8, 5. It's actually 3 gaps, right? 8, 9. Yeah, 2 gaps. Yeah. Never mind. Basic math. Duh. Okay, and it doesn't matter if we like don't need that many Broadway cards or fewer and fewer Broadway cards to make a straight. It's just the gap that's killing it. So I would assume if we put the 6 in here, even with the 10-9-8 double suited, yeah. The gap, there you have it. Well, I honestly found that valuable for myself. So a 2-gapper in the middle. It's basically 2 relatively pretty hold'em hands. Yeah, it is tight, but very aggressive. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's very little calling going on in the small blind. Folding 10-9-6-5. I think I'd fold it too. Yeah, seems to be unanimous. And I don't think we need to jiggle this one around. If you turn the 6 into a 7, this is going to be a raise always. Well, you know what? I've been known to be wrong. So, yeah, no, never mind. Then that's a... Actually, there's a gap in there. 10-7-6. Just want to double sure, because I have been known to be wrong and I don't want to say anything that's, incorrect. And just leave it at that. Okay. It looks pretty. Obviously, we have the gap in there and the huge dangler. We need to fold this one as well, right? It's a fold, but let's see where this one becomes playable. King, Queen 10. Maybe start with the 7. No. So do note the numbers here. Even though it says 27% is, of these hands are getting called, it's still very much a mixed strategy. So just, I don't know, man, mostly going with the fold maybe? Starting the game with the one hand out, so you know it. Yeah, okay. King, Queen, 10-9, okay, that one is obvious. But it's interesting that even the 8 is at best very mixed strategy. Right. And obviously it's only the very best double suited like the ones double suited to the 2 high cards that get mixed in there at all. Okay. This might actually be interesting. It is the perfect rundown, but it's pretty low. The assumptions are, well, we're assuming GTO ranges, and it's in a Zoom 500 rake environment. And I chose that even though I play PLO 20 right now. I have very decent rakeback deals on almost all the sites I play on, so effectively I pay way lower of a rake. So we see a fold, and we see 2 raises so far. I'm a little bit torn about this one. I'm also curious, like, if this one is indeed a raise, where the cutoff lies. If the 6 high, like the 6 down to the 3, a rundown, would still be a raise. Pac-Man says never fold. I'm not. I'm on the fence. Actually gonna go with the fold. So it's never fold. This one is one of the rarer instances. It is where we get to call in the small blind. This is all in. Certainly very often dominated. That's certainly an issue, yeah. I could see that. All right, let's put that one, go 1 pip lower, 6, 5, 4, 3. I think we're gonna see way more folding now. No, 100% call now. Wow. Okay, but then what about the, now I'm curious. What about the lowest one? Okay, so it's only the lowest one that gets folded. 6 high gets called 100%. Never fold, PLO, so easy. The 7 high is, as you can see, very much mixed. And I would believe starting at the 8 high, it's not going to be as mixed, right? Probably not going to be mixed at all. Shows you what I know. Oh, that's not double suited, sorry. Did I forget double suited with the other ones? Damn it, now I need to double check. Yeah, okay. Phew. So there is some calling, but it's very much mixed. I tend to ignore that. So I don't know if I might have not have the double suited in there, right? I think the 5 highest are going to be a fold 100% of the time. But let's go with 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, cool. Remains a call 100% of the time. So interesting. I had it at double suited. Fair enough. Thank you, though. Okay. It's 10, 6, 4. Interesting. We did have a similar hand recently. I mean, this time the low side cards are connect-ish, have some connectivity. Yeah, I think it's just a clear fold, right? Might be interesting to see the ace 10, 6, 5. That changes anything. So solver sometimes likes the 5-6 combo, the 5-4 combo. Okay, the 5-6 it don't like in perfect English. Okay, very mixed, so just fold it 100% of the time. As king 5-4. So we block aces, we block kings. We have two very high suits. Peter Nielsen gone with the potted baby. So probably pretty straightforward here with the pot. I doubt anybody's going to fold this. St. P. Hey, welcome to the channel, mate. Wait, I almost put in a 1 there. OMFG raising it as well. But what do we do against a re-raise? So I got a second window open, which assumes that now everybody folds. The initial raise or the under the gun raises again. And the big blind, the button folds and it's back to us. So we get re-raised, the third guy folds, and it's back to us. Do we call or do we fold? 100% call. As King Jack 9 should be pretty straightforward. If we, I'm not going to put the poll up for this one. It's just going to be a raise 100% of the time. Is King 10 deuce? Keep saying 1. Maybe we want to look into some more dicey spots going forward. Maybe redo the buckets here a little bit. Can't be too cautious. Raise pot. It's a call. Wow, and I thought this one would be totally straightforward. I guess we're more interested in seeing a flop with this one. And it plays fine, it plays better multibait than the other one. What would be your explanations for this? Yeah, I think that's it. Interesting, though. So we called with the lowest rundowns that still get played, the 7 high and the 6 high it was. Well, the 7 high was a mixed one. Nice to know 3-bit range from small blind if you assume no one folds pre-flop. Oh yeah, like in general, yeah. Maybe it doesn't like to 4-bit, like to call the 4-bit with this one. Could be it, yeah. Yeah, could be it. All right, interesting one. And with the so the category for this one is unpaired double suited connected Broadway hands. If once we select buckets, we can like hover over this button here. So you fold 80% and call only 18% and raise pot for the majority of these hands. Which one is that? What would you filter? It would be JN1, I believe. JN1. Can we hang on? We can probably do this easier, right? Get this bucket. Oh yeah, there we go. There we have it. So which ones do we call? Do keep in mind the dotted card is the queen. Oh, hang on. That's what's up with the frequencies here. I think we have to go like this so we see the 100% frequencies. Am I possible to beat Gelfand after the study session? Well, it's possible. It's PLO. It's possible. May likely. So, which ones get called at a higher frequency here? Ace Queen 10. So it looks like 3 Broadways with a low one so far. Ace King 10 deuce, Ace Queen 10 deuce. 3 Broadways with a real card apparently. see if it's, and only the deuce and the 3, also the 6, okay. 3, the 6, the 4 as well, okay. Then there's gonna be the 5 showing up sometime at some point as well. Although now we're getting into a mixed territory again. Apparently the 5 doesn't make an appearance here. That's kind of interesting. Me too, Kippery, me too. A lifetime winner against Phil. At least in BB, I think I might be down in Euros since I played a PLO 50 pot against him. But who knows? Yeah, details. Okay, so it's 3 Broadway cards with a low card, with a real card predominantly. Might be a good way of memorizing this one. Was it also like Ace, Queen, Jack in here? Yeah, okay. But then here we're not suited to 2 high cards. Full of fill beaters. Sounds weird. Okay, and we raised. So which ones do we raise at a high frequency then? It's King, Queen. Okay, so we're still in mixed territory. Let's go with like the 75%ers. The Ace Jack 10 combo, so I will love that one. Ace King 10 with the 5. So that seems to be the exception. The 5. The 5 didn't really show up in the ones that get called at a high frequency. It was Deuce 3. It was the 4. But not the 5. The Jack 10 combo, always huge. And the Ace King 10 4 now at a high frequency. Is Queen Jack at a high frequency? No, I'm confused. Oh, right. The Ace Queen Jacks that we called, we weren't suited. We weren't perfectly double suited. 2 high cards were of the same suit. And then here, if the side card is higher. All right, cool. Need to get that back into the foreground. It's King 8-4. That's certainly interesting. Because the suits certainly ain't ideal, so... Do we have that many 3-bet bluffs, 3-bet folds? Do we have any? Like squeeze folds, I should say. Because if we raise this, we can never call a raise, right? Re-raise, right? So I agree, we have to fold this. How about if it is perfectly double suited? Nope. Don't matter. It don't matter. Okay. Didn't we just have this? Didn't we just have that one? Or at least looked it up, or a very similar one. So we have 3 Broadways. We have a wheel card, but it is the 5. On the other hand, we're not ideally double suited. So given with what we've seen, I personally would expect a mixed strategy favoring a call, sometimes raising. But no, by no means, don't necessarily listen to me. I've been wrong. The past. So I think the most exciting or interesting thing here is going to be to see the frequencies. Sometimes folding it even. Yeah, I guess if 2 really tight players have entered a pot. And mostly potting it here. And just to double check, let's go with the ace king jack 4 double suited. And we call now I'm utterly confused. Weren't these mostly well, I guess it is very mixed strategy. So all of these are not perfectly double suited, right? Right. Yeah, catching bricks. And I'll do only short study streams for the time being during the week and raid the Phil Gaffin channel. The Run It Once channel. All right, so it's very much dependent on, with the 4 on the high suits. Let's go with the 5. The actual hand we were looking at. And here it matters less with the 5. So the solver likes the ace-5 combo. Much more than the ace-4, ace-3, ace-deuce. Fair enough. Ace king queen 5 should be pretty easy. Don't think we need to fold for this. I hope. Okay. Ace 10 9 3. The dangler by the 10 9 combo and double suited. Could this be something that gets played? Yeah. I'd fold it too. I'd be curious to see if it's 100% fold, or maybe if it sometimes gets called. No. So, where's the cutoff there? It's the 9. Nope. It's the 9 6 double suited. Let's go with nope. So, but the 7, the 2 gaps, or the 1 gap makes this probably pretty strong, and we're gonna see a shift too. So that's rather interesting and something that should be noted. That as soon as the connectivity improves by 1 pip here, or one fewer gap, it shifts from 100% fold to basically 100% raise. And we're not folding this one to re-raise either then. All right, cool. 10 8 7 5. As Phil would say, could be cuspy. We have 1 gap at the top, 1 gap at the bottom. Actually, I don't know. Gaps really don't help us at all. But maybe it's sometimes a pot. Nah. To get folded. Strangely enough, what I have to do in order to figure out what I would do at runtime, I have to imagine seeing the card in my hand at an actual poker table. Like, but that's just me. 100% fold, yeah. Jack 10 6 deuce should be 100% fold. King 10 4 deuce, 100% fold. Ace queen 10 6. Crappy motivate pile, yeah. Yeah, so calling certainly out of the question. And not strong enough to raise. Yeah. So is this a call or is this a raise? Let's see, we're perfectly double suited. And our low card is higher than a 5. Capri opting for the call. Just most likely not going to turn out to be wrong. I would assume this is a mixed spot. The calls have it for now. Sleddy Harry, hey, welcome to the channel. So far at runtime, I would have raised this. Hey, thank you for the follow. Cheers, Sleddy Harry. But if it is a raise, it's not going to be 100% raise, I would think, right? Okay. So it's very much a spot of pick your poison. Slightly in favor of folding, then calling, and then potting it. And if we do pot it, what do we do if we get raised? The ace queen 10-6. We put it up, put it into the other window. The word in this spot is realizability. Yeah, that's a good word. And we fold this almost always if you get raised 91%. Like, should we pot it here? Assuming we pot it and initial raiser comes over the top again, the other guy folds. All right. Where'd my window go? Oh, there it is. Cool. So I guess fold it if two huge nits are in the pot, otherwise mostly call. And I guess raise it if we like want to ISO a maniac. Especially if the maniac is in the on the button here, right? I think like if the because like imagine we're on a table where the initial raiser is the maniac, the button is a solid player, and then it's us and we raise pot, trying to ISO the maniac. The maniac's always gonna like at least call. And then the solid player is never gonna fold. Or hardly ever. Closing the action, getting a decent price. So maybe that's a decent approach there to figure out when to raise this one. I don't know. Jack 10, 7, 6, the always so beloved Jack 10 combo, but with a huge gap. Is this good enough? And if so, what is it good enough for? Yeah, and realizability, in case you don't know what Jens Peter Nielsen means, is how likely is it that, like, we have a certain amount of equity in any given spot, right? No matter what four cards we hold. But how easy is it going to be to realize our equity? Let's say we have double suited threes and deuces. For some reason, we decide to join the hand, and we see a flop of king 9-5, single suited or monotone, whatever. We still have equity in this spot. Like maybe the other guy, who knows what the other guys do have, no matter what they have, unless they already hit a set, then our equity goes way down. But we still have equity in the spot. But how easy can we realize it? Like if on the king 9-5 board, somebody bets into us, we need to let go, right? Maybe this guy is on a gut shot. And not much more, like to overcards and a gut shot. Smoxen, maybe try setting it to 720p. I stream in, what is it, 1080p. So go into the little settings in the video, because it should be fine, unless some other people telling me that it's lagging, but usually it doesn't. Right. So try to refresh or set it to 720p. So what about this hand? What do we do? Is this a straightforward fold? 10, 7, 6. Realizing it's Joy Boy. I guess you live up to the joy part in your name. Just happily never folding. Jack 10, 7, 6. I don't know, man. Gap's pretty horrible, but the Jack 10 combo always looks so sweet. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I should call fold or raise, or what I would have done until now. That was the vantage point I'm trying to answer from, personally. So no guesses on your end either, huh? I take it you're stumped. I'll flip a triple-sided coin. 100% fold. Okay. So there's not going to be a surprise here. I would assume if we take away one gap, then it's going to be 100%, close to 100% raise. Right, folding game, yeah. I honestly can't answer if I would have. Yeah, okay. So it's the gap. The two gaps, as we've seen earlier, just kills hands. So this study stream is not going to go on for too much longer, just a heads up, until the Run It Once channel comes live. For tomorrow, there will be another one, another study stream, right? Right. And I'll set up a post-flop spot for tomorrow. So here is similar hand with one gap at the top. I've heard of a guy once, the most tilting for him was when a player took even the smallest equity to the grave. I'm pretty sure there's a joke in there that's gone over my head. Oh wait, didn't start the poll on this one. Should be straightforward, right? Should be 100% raise pot. So it's maybe not. Okay, 98%. Let's round it off to 100%. For the last however many minutes, let's limit our. Wait, where's that window? Hang on. Here. Let's limit our hand selection. So far, we had a few wrong. Let maybe go over the wrong ones, which is also a neat feature of the bucket tool. Like once you've done your training, you can, by the way, freely choose how many hands you want to train on, and then we can restart with the wrong hands. So Queen Jack 10-7. I think that was a case of the gap killing it. So I believe that was a fold, mostly, sometimes a call. 7-6-5-4. That was the mixed one, right? Call like 60-40? Or 50-50 even. Well, okay. Closer to 40-60. Anywho. Ace King 10 deuce. What was up with that one? That was with the deuce. That was a call, right? Check 5. I think that was mostly a raise, right? And that's the wrong one. So let's do a few more hands, but limit the potentially VO for a hand to like maybe, let's go with 7, see what that gives us. And maybe see some decisions that are not as clear cut. And then potentially interesting run right off the bat. So I could see the problem that we are, if we decide to play this hand, that we're easily dominated by better wraps. Rundown, sorry, we can't have a wrap yet. So what do you guys think? Do we fold this, or do we raise this, or do we call this even? I don't think we want to. Do we want to call this? Similar hands. OMFG going for the fold. We have one raise, and honestly, I think I might have squeezed this every once in a while, if not more than every once in a while. Now I get the feeling that that might be wrong, but I'm gonna go with the raise because I kind of believe I would have done that, which is of course the whole point of this training. Ooh, wait, that's a little too large. But I'm gonna go with your guys' option. Go with the fold. Okay. I would very much assume if we take away one gap here, then that changes that. Ace-8. Let's go with Ace-8, 7-6. Yeah, okay, that one we don't need to do. But let's go with the Ace-8, 6-5. And for the record, the Ace-8, 7-6 is just going to be a raise. Never gets called. Basically 100% of the time. Like the deviations here are all very much mixed. And at a tiny percentage. Just so I want to make sure so I don't give you false information. But I think if you take away the gaps, it's 100%. There you go. All right. The folds have it. King Jack 10-7. We had a similar one. I think we might not need to poll for this one. I think this has to be a fold. It's again the huge gap here, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help that we have a gap in, right in this at the top. Wow. So the Jack 10 combo in combination with the King and the gap 7. Wow. And there's me saying we don't need to poll for this one. Double suited connected near Broadway. Full is the category for this one. We fold those 77% of the time. What do we do with this one if we get raised? I would assume we're not going anywhere at this point. Do you guys still remember the similar hand we just had when we restarted wrong? That we folded. Yeah, it's a call 100% if we get raised. Look at the EV. That's a good point, yeah. So it's pretty much neutral. I believe the hand, it was just a couple of minutes ago. Hopefully one of you remembers, but we had a hand with a XX 10-7 double suited, like 2 Broadways, I believe, as well. Oh, maybe I can just look this up. That was a fold. Maybe it was something like the, let's go with the King Queen 10-7, so we don't have the Jack 10 combo. Queen Jack 10. So with the King Queen, it's a fold. Queen Jack 10, really? That doesn't that look even sweeter? That might have been the one. You might be right. That might have been the one that we have, Alex. That we had. Yeah, and it's mostly a fold. Yeah, joy boy joy. This is against GTO ranges, and we're assuming PLO 500 rake. Again, I'm playing way lower than that. I'm playing PLO 20 right now, but I'm getting decent rake back on all the sides, so I'm paying effectively way lower rake than that. Excuse me, to have more hands and calling 4 bets. Oh, King High Suit versus Queen High Suit. That's a good point. That's a good point. That probably trumps the connectivity there. Also, we make better 2 pair. And with this one, we block kings. And that's a pretty big deal, I would assume. Yeah, so it's probably a combination of the King High Suit and blocking kings that trumps the better connectivity of Queen Jack 10-7. Now, yeah, these 2 factors sound like they make or break it here. Cool. Appreciate the input, because I was kind of stumped as to, at first glance, why this one now gets raised. King Queen 10-6. Well, we just had that one, right? Yeah, and we unblock queens. That's also cool. And have an overcard to them. That's a good point as well, yeah. I think that's relevant. Feels relevant. Ace Jack 10-3. So I'd say it's not a fold, but what is it? So we're perfectly double suited. We have one of the wheel cards, if you remember that from earlier. But we have the Jack-10 combo. Is that enough to make it more of a raise than a call? So personally, up until now, I would have raised it. %. We're not folding that to re-raise either. Don't even need to check it out. Ace Queen 8-4 should be a fold. Jack 9-5 should be a fold as well. Ace Jack 8-7. I think that one might be sort of interesting. Maybe it's just straightforward fold. You know what? I think I would fold it. Up until now. No. Joy possibly got swayed by me here. Sorry if I didn't leave enough time. So call, ignore that, and raise pot, and it's a clear equity, a clear EV advantage raising this one. Okay, let's check. Ace Jack 8-6. Just so we get a feel for, okay. So that's apparently the point where it gets playable. Maybe a 7-6. And that's already unblocking kings and queens is important. Yeah. Against which we're not doing bad, especially if they're not double suited. All right. Few more hands before we head over to the Run It Once channel. Yes, I am OMFG, which is the reason why this stream is going to be relatively short. Matter of fact, I'm going to be modding most of the days. So I'll do 3 hours of modding, then I'll walk the dog, and then I'll start up my stream at like 8:30. And that's going to be the plan going forward on most days. Except on Friday, I want to play the home game with you. Finally. So the Queen 10, 9, 6. Gee, so, sorry, OMFG, you need to vote again. I only just now started a poll. Has to be, with what we've seen earlier, it has to be a fold, right? Toolbelt review. Essential Craftsman has been added. I think that's the wrong one. Kina, so I'll take this one out of the queue. Oh, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, this is my toolbelt setup. Yeah, it has to be a fold, right? What? Okay. So the difference is, of course, we still don't block kings or aces. But I would assume the difference is we have fewer Broadway cards, and we need fewer Broadway cards to make a hand, to make a straight. So this is more like of a mid-rep than a hand containing many Broadways, which was the case with like the Queen Jack 10, 7. With this hand, we're doing much better against an Ace King Jack type of hand, or even Ace Queen Jack. Doing a little bit better against that as with the Queen Jack 10, 7. All right. And the Phil Gaffon challenge is on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do one last hand and then head over. Ace Queen Jack 3. We're gonna already start the raid here. Gives us 90 seconds. Ace Queen Jack 3. So we don't block kings. We have two high suits, but we have the wheel card in there. Is this a raise or is it a call? Or like, is it clear cut one or the other, or is it mixed? Kino's gone with the raise. Personally, I'm going with the raise as well. Be curious to see if there's a frequency for calling with this one. Wait, I don't even have to poll up. I'm sorry about that. I didn't even have to poll up. But right now, everybody raises 65% with some calling. And Joy Boy Joy, thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated, man. Or lady, never know. Well, it does say boy in your name, so probably not lady. All right. That's it for today. If you like this type of format, I'll plan on doing this most weekdays in the afternoons. Check my schedule, like right underneath the in the channel page. You'll figure it out, I'm sure. Yeah, let's head over to the Phil Gaffon challenge and see what they're up to. It's all okay. That's a good Nick. Thank you very much for following. This one is a fold to 4-bet. Let's see. I doubt it. Oh,